My Image podcast. I am your host, Myesha Price. And as we continue to go down this road of celebrating mothers in this month, today I have an extremely special guest with me here. It is none other, y'all call her Mama Cox, but she's my mama, not y'all's. Miss Linda Cox is in the building today. I could give you a whole lot of descriptions about her, but she's my mother. She's raised two wonderful children. She has worked all of her life to make sure and ensure you guys hear me talk about her and refer to her in many of previous conversations. But today she is here in the flesh and joining in the conversation with us. So today, visionaries, welcome my mom, Miss Linda Cox. Mom, thank you for joining in this conversation.
You are so welcome. Glad to be a part of it.
I think this is one of them things that when I thought about doing it, I was like, I don't think she's gonna probably hesitate about this because she already talk in front of cameras and people. So we're gonna see how this conversation go. But I felt like at this juncture of my life, that this is something that I don't think we've ever really had a chance to do, was sit down and conversate in a capacity for me to understand, and not only just for me, but you're sharing your story with the rest of the world of how it was for you as a mother. And in honoring mothers, I can't honor other mothers in this month and not honor the one who gave birth to me. That is why this is such an important month for me. Just honoring those who made the sacrifices and took the time out to do what they had to do, stay in the fight, and did right and raise their children. Jumping right into the conversation, let's just get into it. Now, most people don't know you are the oldest of 6 children.
Yes, I am.
That is born to my late grandmother, Ms. Myesha Cox. How was life growing up in a household or being raised by my grandma, which if you've heard me talk about, my grandma was a pistol. She was a laughing, she was a funny lady. She ain't take no job, but she was a funny lady. But growing up in a household, being the oldest of 6 children, how was that for you?
It was a very interesting life. Actually, I came to New Jersey when I was 10, and 4 of them were already here. So the first part of their lives I missed. Once I got here, there was 2 more that was added on to the collection of us.
Okay.
The 2 that were added on later, one became mine and the other one became my other sister. So we were like their mothers. We had to bathe them, wash their hair, braid their hair, make sure they got ready for bed, check their homeworks. Oh, we were like their mothers.
So what you mean one was yours and one was another sibling?
Because they're only a year apart.
Okay.
So one was Diane's and one was mine.
Okay.
So we took care of them.
Okay.
So we had lots of experience taking care of the 2 babies. And one of them happened to be a preemie baby, which we kept in a shoebox because she was so little.
All right, y'all. So just so we clear, this was years ago. Not when diapers was very much so present. But yes, but I was in a shoebox.
Not you. It wasn't you.
Yeah, I was in the shoebox.
Yes.
By accident. Not intentionally, by accident.
So it was very interesting. We went out to play. We played in the dirt. We played jump rope, hopscotch, tag. And then at night, when it started getting dark outside, our mother said, we better be on that step in front of that house and you better not be anywhere else but there. And we knew not to move from in front of that door because she did not play. Okay. Now, for our eating, that was real interesting because I had one brother that was large. Mm-hmm. And that brother, if he loved fried chicken, anybody that knew him, anybody that knew my brother Carl, know he loved fried chicken. Okay.
Yeah, boy, could he make it.
So when my mother would cook fried chicken, she would cook 2 chickens. If she said, I'm cooking chicken, you knew that you better be in the house when she said dinner is ready. Because if you didn't, he was eating it all. You wasn't getting it.
So see, this passed down. This is generational. See, when y'all thought I was just out here just eating steaks for a snack, I got it honestly. It was passed down. Might have skipped a couple generations, but it was passed down evenly. He liked chicken, I just like steak.
Yes. So, and we always had big pots of food because it seemed like there were so many of us. Mm-hmm. But it was only 6 of us, and we shared bedrooms. Like the girls had a bedroom, the boys had a bedroom, and my mom had a bedroom. And we had bunk beds. Well, a lot of kids nowadays don't know what a bunk bed is.
Right.
But we had bunk beds because there were 4 girls. So that means we had to have 2 sets of bunk beds.
Right.
So after that, we all got grown. I moved away. Well, I moved not far away, only around the corner. I moved away and I started having my own family. First came my son, which was the sweet, darling child. Then here comes Myesha 10 years later.
I feel like shade, people. It's shade.
10 years later. Oh, my God. I was happy and I was mad. I was happy when I found out it was a girl because I've already had a boy. So it's like, yes, I got a girl. She came, pretty little chocolate thing with pretty little curly hair. Oh, she was a doll baby. But then came the crying. Oh, my Jesus. Help me, Lord.
See, these singing abilities, they were being groomed.
That's right. That's what I say, too. It was preparing her for where she's at now. Because she can sing away. Because she cleared everything out that throat when she was little. And she did a great job of clearing that throat. And she's doing a great job now of singing.
But I feel like the shade that's being thrown at me. People, I need y'all to pray for this conversation because it's just a shade. Now, I people don't know there's 10 years between me and my brother. And so to go back, now you said your first 10 years you didn't move to New Jersey until you were 10.
Right.
So where were you? Like,
I was raised in South Carolina with my grandmother.
Okay.
And I was like the only child running free in South Carolina.
Okay.
If you know anything about the country, there's no lights. So, of course, you won't come in the house when it get anywhere near dark. And it's 110 degrees in that summertime. So you go outside early in the morning, come in the house in the middle of the day because it's just too hot to be outside.
Right.
But I decided when I was 10 that I wanted to come to New Jersey where the lights are at with my mother. Well, I shouldn't have done that. I should have stayed in the South.
Why you say that?
Because the city is wild. In the South, it was calm.
Okay.
It's a drastic difference between the South and the city.
Absolutely.
Drastic difference.
And I'm sure it was more defining of a difference back then, more so now, because you have country world was right. You didn't have the fast pace there.
Right. You had dirt roads, toilets outside, or no toilet at all. It was a totally different world.
Wow.
Totally different world. And I wanted to come to the city because the city had bathrooms inside. You didn't have to rake no yards. You didn't have to get no switches. Well, no, you did have to get switches. I'm about to say we had switches. Yes, we did have to get switches because Maisel didn't play. So we did have to get those. Yes. But it was very different, very different.
So now that you moved to New Jersey and, you're helping raise your younger siblings, because I'm sure Grandma was working or doing what she did to make sure she could take care of her children.
Yes.
And while y'all assisted in her aid and making sure the younger ones were taken care of, then you became your own mother. You became a mother yourself.
Right.
So how was it like for you raising 2 kids by yourself?
Sometimes it was struggles, and sometimes I had 2 jobs. I remember one time I had 3 jobs.
I remember.
Yes. Well, that about took me out. After that, I was like, oh, I can't do 3 jobs no more. And then I got enough increases in my salary at work, and I was able to sustain it and pay my bills and take care of y'all. So it worked out fine.
Right. So when you have kids that are 10 years apart,
I don't advise no one. No one. It's bad for your health mentally. to have your children 10 years apart. It's day and night. It's like you forgot what you learned 10 years before that. You starting all over. I'm telling you, it's not good for you. You're going to have kids, have them 2 years apart. Don't have them 10 years apart. No one should have kids 10 years apart. No one. It's not good for your health. I'm telling you, it ain't good for you.
But
Not
the difference of having an older son and then having your daughter 10 years later, that drastic change, although it like you said, you forget things. And
yes.
Now you kind of have to start all over.
Yes.
And you thought, oh, let me get rid of the baby clothes, all that kind of stuff. Let me. Now here we are starting over. Now we need a whole nother swing. We need a whole nother set of clothes. And we can't even have boy clothes. We got to need to find girl clothes. Okay, yes. So this is totally different.
Totally different world. Totally different world. I'm telling you, it's totally different. Don't do it.
So on the pressure side, as you know, you had 2 different fathers for your kids.
Right.
What was that like for you having to raise one? You know, one was, as we know, not present at all. Then you had one that was a drive-by.
Well, I wouldn't say a drive-by, because if I called him and told him I needed something, then he would get it.
Okay.
But the problem with that one was he couldn't understand that money is not the answer. You need time.
Absolutely.
Time is more important than money. Anytime you have kids, you should spend time with them.
Absolutely.
Not just buy them things.
Right.
That was the main argument. Time. Spending time. You need quality time with your children.
Right.
So if you got some, spend quality time with them.
So because, you know, I often tell people, like, my dad would show up. And when he did show up, if it wasn't him being... It was the inconsistencies for me of you saying you're coming and then I'm sitting here waiting for you and then you don't show up. But now you as the mother got to switch gears and fix and console something that wasn't a problem that you made.
Right.
So now, you know, growing up, now I look at things and be like, it's not about, for me, it's not about the material things. If you're not present and being intentional about it, which is probably one of the reasons why I hate people being late. Because that was something that I dreaded. Right. Like, if you say you coming somewhere, if somebody don't show up, now I'm pissed because you said you were showing up.
Right,
like, exactly. Why you ain't here?
Right. Why
so unless you dead, you had an accident and your phone is for me, there is no excuse as to why you're not present. If you said you were going to be somewhere for somebody. Right. So, you know,
I try to be on time for everything also. My girlfriends laugh at me all the time. They be trying to beat me, but they can't beat me.
No, because
if you say there's something that's going to start at 7:30, I'm going to be there like 7:15, 7:20, because I'm going to be there on time.
So for all y'all that's always wondering, like, why am I always on time for things? See, I got it honestly.
Yes,
my mother is on time.
She got it from me. Yes, she did.
We don't believe in being late for stuff. If you say if it starts at 7:30, we gonna be there at 7:15. Because at the end of the day, we don't feel like searching for no seat, going down the aisle. We want to be on time so we can be comfortable.
Exactly.
That's just how we operate. So I got it honestly for all y'all haters out there.
Yes.
You understand why I am very critical on time.
Yes.
And just to go back to that, you know, like you said, what you tried to implement to my father was being present. It's not about money. It's not you got to be present. And those are some of the things, like with people, I've realized growing up now, you know, looking at hindsight and going through much therapy about it, is that it's not the material things. Although I like gifts, but gifts is not, that don't draw my attention. It's the intentionality of the thought that counts.
That's exactly it.
You know, because I tell people all the time, and you know, I was telling the story a couple weeks ago. Told somebody, I said I was like 12 years old and had a Movado watch.
Yes,
and a whole jewelry set that I couldn't wear to school because
with real pearls.
Right. When people thought, yo, this girl got money. No, he would buy stuff to replace, as if it was a replacement for the lack of ability to be there present in time.
Right.
So, you know, that's what told me. I said, material stuff don't matter to me. Listen, I I could go buy that for myself. I don't need you to buy that because it's not about that. It's about being present in the moment. It's about the thought that counts. What's the thought behind that? That matters the most.
Right.
So
time is the most important thing. Time. Quality time. I tell everybody, quality time is the most important thing. I don't care if you go take a walk in the park, walk around the block, do this hopscotch. I don't care what you do, as long as you're spending time with them. That's the important part.
So would you say it was different raising a boy from a girl?
No, not really. When I sit down and think about it, it wasn't too much difference in it. Just the time span and the mindset. Other than that, it was about the same.
Well, the problem is we played together, so
yeah.
we were our own entertainment.
Yes, exactly.
So we didn't need help. You know,
exactly.
We would have water gun fights because that was, you know, those were I'm rough around the edges because my brother made me rough. Okay, y'all.
Yes, he tortured her. I hear. Yeah. They tell now things that they did back then that I knew nothing of.
Yeah, not nothing crazy. He just used to do weird stuff. He was a terror.
Right, but he protected his sister though. Don't get it twisted now.
That was very true.
Don't get too close to his sister now, because he will get you.
And still to the day,
yeah,
he is still the same.
Yes, he is.
You know, we have a very strong bond, but it is still the same. And,
yes,
and it's vice versa. Don't try me with my brother. I tell people all the time. There's certain things you just don't cross.
Right.
That don't mess with my husband, don't mess with my brother, don't mess with my mama. We all good. You come from my family, then we gonna have a problem.
Right.
We're gonna have an issue. I'm sorry, you can't forget about the dog. Don't mess with him either, because that's a part of the family. But so with those things and the challenges that you went through, and if there were things that you went through as far as challenges in raising two kids, what were those things?
I think the most challenging part was providing.
Okay.
Because when I first started working, I was making $5,000 a year. Not a month, not a week, a year. Sheesh. A year. I found one of my pay stubs recently, and it was like $5,400 and something dollars, I think it said, or something. And that was the total for the year. I'm like, oh my God, how did I survive?
Yeah, I don't know.
But you got to remember, back then, things was 10 cents, $1, 25 cents.
Right.
So you get a soda bottle, you take it back to the stove, you get 10 cents or a quarter or something back for your soda bottle. All that stuff helped out. Whereas now you ain't getting nothing for 10 cents. You can't even get a 10 cent bubble gum nowadays.
At all.
No,
everything's inflation.
Everything's $1 now, $1 and above.
Wow.
So that's how I survived with that, because it was and the other thing is, when David was born, he was a picky eater, so I didn't have to worry about cooking too much of nothing, because he didn't like to eat. You can't tell it now, but he didn't like to eat. So the doctor was like, you gotta make him eat. He has to eat. He needs these vitamins, protein. He needs this stuff in his body. It's like, okay. Finally, gradually, we got him to eat some foods. Mm-hmm. Not very many, but some foods, enough that stuck to the bones and just kept him going on like outward. Mm-hmm. Then when Myesha came along, she threw up everything. She wanted to eat, but it didn't like her. So everything just kept coming back out. So once we got over that phase of her life of throwing everything up, which she probably was about 2 or 3 maybe, it was a long time.
That's very weird, because I was fat.
Regular food.
I was a fat baby.
Yes. The doctor said you were getting some in there, but you wasn't getting enough in your body. It wasn't staying in there long enough. But once you got, I guess about 3.5 maybe, then you started keeping it down and you could eat all the regular foods and everything. And you always had like a digestive issue. And they just said watch it and see if everything was being digested good, or if your bowels was backing up or anything like that. But other than that, it was fine. It was
Interesting.
Fine.
You learn something new every day.
Yes. Okay.
Explains maybe why still me and digestion issues are still prevalent.
Yes.
Explains why.
So, because you had it all your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, being a mother now, when you had David, how old were you then?
Let's see, 17.
So you were 17 when you became a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
How was that being a young mom?
Interesting. Very interesting because let's see, he was born in October and I was scheduled to graduate in June of the following year.
Wow.
So they allowed me to do homeschooling so that I didn't miss my class. And then once I had him, I went back to school and finished out the year. And I graduated on time in the following year. And back then they had a program at the school also where you can bring your kids to work with you. Not work, but to class, to the school, to Trenton High.
Wow, so there was like a daycare at the school.
Yes. And you also went to the daycare. You went to the daycare also. I don't know why you was there because I wasn't at school then. But you went there.
Y'all, she just dropped me off at the daycare at the school. What in the world is going on here?
I think you used to go with Stacy. I think Stacy used to take you with her. Hey, it was free daycare. Go to school, it's free daycare.
Oh,
daycare costs a lot of money.
Oh, they just took me to the schoolhouse and sent me with my aunt to school.
Loved it. You loved it.
This is crazy.
You loved it. Yes, you did go to Trenton High daycare. Yes, you did.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes.
You learned something. So 17, you became a mother.
Yes.
And so you finished high school.
Yes.
On time, and of course you go right into workforce.
Yes, straight into workforce.
Okay,
Several years later, I decided I was going to go to college and get some credits, and I did.
Okay,
but I didn't finish that either. But I got enough to do what I wanted to do.
Okay,
so I got enough that way. That way, I was allowed to be promoted even to higher positions. Mm-hmm. So by the time I decided to retire, I had a wonderful salary. Just know that.
Just so we clear, y'all, I had to catch her on a whim for this interview because she don't sit still. If there's epitome of living your best life after retirement, she is the purity image of living your life in a happiness after retirement because she don't sit still.
Yes.
She's always on vacation somewhere. And I think after you have given everything you have, you've worked, you've raised your kids, you retired.
Don't forget the grandkids, raised the grandkids too.
Yeah.
They spent my money too. Yes. But now the grandkids are grown, so it's all about me now.
Yeah, but you still spoil grandkids. So that's yes, you do.
They on their own, the boys on their own world. I only got one now that still be calling me, but now
that is the reward.
Yes.
After all of that, now you can just go ahead and live your life freely. Like, you may be okay. I'm like, she ain't here, but listen, she living her best life. I don't have no problems with it. My brother be probably about to have a heart attack, but I'm fine. As long as I know where she at, I'm good. Because at the end of the day, I understand that you've made the sacrifices. You did what you had to do. Now it's up to you to live your years the way you want to live them and not have to worry about anything. So if there was one word that you can use to sum up motherhood to encourage another woman, somebody else who may be listening out there that is currently going through what you've already experienced, maybe have 2 or more children, or maybe have 1 and it's rough. Because even though times were different then and things were not so costly then, they're higher now. Nice. And then the cost of all depending on what their level of education is, where they work, not knowing what their income that they're bringing into, and our system is so jacked up that the assistance to help certain people is kind of hard. So if there was one word that you can tell that person that may be listening, what would be that word and why?
One word: keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Mm-hmm. And keep pushing because at the end, it will all pay off. It will all pay off at the end. Because if you stay focused and be determined on what it is that you are trying to achieve, you can achieve it. You just have to stay focused. Don't worry about nobody else, what they doing, what they ain't doing. Just stay focused. Think about you and your child or your children, and you can make it happen. And you don't have to have the best of things. You can have just the minimum. As long as you fed, you got lights, you got water and heat, you're good. You're good. Maybe you don't have a bed, maybe you have a sofa. And you got somewhere to lay down. keep pushing. Because when I started out, I had a fold-up table for my table. My son had a crib. And then I had a little twin bed. No furniture. That's it. And now I got a whole big old gigantic house with a whole lot of stuff. We're not talking about that today.
Somebody
We're not talking about that.
Yeah, somebody pray. Jesus.
I think that's why I haven't, because I went so many years without.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what happened. It's like, okay, I see it, I want it, I get it. And my uncle told me that one day. He bought a steak that was $20-some, one piece of steak. He said, tomorrow's not promised. And I thought about that. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what, Uncle? You are right. Ever since that day, I see it, I want it, I get it.
Yeah, because it's not. Tomorrow's not promised. The next hour is not promised.
Right.
We don't know where our point of where we reach our capacity of our purpose.
Right.
That it now puts us at a point where it's like, okay, now you're done. You could just be simply sitting in a car. You could be driving. You can go home. You can lay down and not wake back up.
Right.
We see and it doesn't, sometimes it don't come with a warning. Sometimes it's not you're being sick.
Right.
And then, we know the inevitable is coming.
Right.
Sometimes it is simply just as much as
go to sleep
and you just don't wake up.
Right.
That just wasn't in the plan anymore. Mm-hmm. And your purpose was fulfilled, because at the end of the day, God's purpose is going to be fulfilled on this earth through you. Whatever it is that he has inside of you that he wants to get out of you, he's going to do that. It can't return to him void.
Right.
So it has to accomplish what he sent it out here to do. No matter what it looks like, enjoy the finer things, not saying go live life recklessly, but be intentional about your living, because at the end of the day, we only got one life.
That's right. Got to live your best life. That's what I'm doing. I'm living my best life.
Yeah, we know. We know. So, be
encouraged.
I think that is a great takeaway of a word, is to keep pushing. And for that person who's listening, know that I know it's rough. I know it's hard. I know it seems like the mountain is way too big in front of you, that you don't know where you're going to see you're out. You don't know when the break is going to come. You're searching high and low and looking for an answer. It's going to have, the change is coming. Just keep holding on and keep pushing forward.
Right.
It's not going to always stay like this, but you have got to keep pushing.
Yes.
Don't let it overcome you. Don't let it drive you out. Don't let it drain you out. And don't let the circumstances of this world make you feel like you're inadequate. Your level of low self-esteem, that you're not qualified or no good thing is going to come and happen to you. It will happen in its due season. It's going to change in its due season. That season changing could be in the next 5 minutes. That season changing can happen just in a moment. Whenever it does happen, keep pushing. And that's what we're going to leave on. We're going to leave on keep pushing. So, Mom, I thank you so much for this conversation.
You're so welcome.
I thank you for just stepping out of your comfort zone and talking, because this ain't something what you regularly would do. So I appreciate that. And before we go, for those who are business owners who are looking to get into starting your business, we will be having a Network and Chew Business Social on Friday, May the 19th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Relicon State in Newtown, Pennsylvania. If you're in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, whatever area, if you're in town and might be from out of town and maybe in town right then and there, come on out. Listen, there will be no tickets sold at no door. So you need to get your tickets now if you plan on attending on Friday, May the 19th. You can go on my website at www.myeshaprice.com, or you can go on Eventbrite and put in the search bar Network and Chew Business Social, and you'll see my face pop up to be able to get your tickets. So make sure you go do that before it's too late. We want to make sure that that amount that is $25. It is going to cover food. They have some amazing food. Going to have a good time. Make sure you bring your business cards. The whole purpose of networking and helping one another build their brand, so that way we can all be the better for it. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining in on this conversation. Mom, thank you again for being here. Remember to always be you, love you, and see you for who God sees you and what he has called you to be.